is Julie. I work as a TAFE teacher, supporting students with a variety of barriers to learning to gain skills and confidence for entry into the workplace. Part of what our students do are block placements in a vocation of their choosing, and as part of that I visit them when they're on placement, which usually occurs for between 2 weeks or 3 weeks each term. I just thought I'd like to tell you a story about one of my students who has autism, and many of our students in our program have autism, and they are very different, each and every one of them. And part of my job is obviously to support them to learn about work requirements, as well as to assist the employer understand our student needs. So in this particular story, one of my students was placed in a library, and he was very good at what he did there. He assisted with cataloguing and referencing and placing books on shelves. And one of his barriers was he was highly sensitive to noise, and so there happened in one of the weeks he was there that a group of local secondary school students came in, and as isn't unusual, they were quite noisy, and it was very difficult for him to manage his tasks, and it was quite distressing for him. So he worked, and then they were also there on placement as well, and in an open office area where he was working too. And for him to manage this sensitivity, he put his head down on his arms on his desk. So to all intents and purposes, it appeared to his supervisor that he was sleeping. When I went to visit this student, we discussed how things were going well, and if there were anything that, you know, we needed to have a chat about, and she mentioned this aspect of him going to sleep. And when I spoke with the student, that wasn't the case at all. That was his strategy to calm himself down, to give him a break from this interference, for want of a better word, that was interrupting his capacity to work. So after chatting with him, I chatted then with the supervisor, and we sat down together and talked about that issue. And that really helped her understand that that was one of his needs required for him to be able to work to his best capacity as well. That a quiet environment was quite important for him, that his stress levels rose a lot higher when there was excessive noise around him. And I suppose that is one thing that in many years of working with students who have autism, that I think that having a conversation and talking about things, particularly for employers, is really, really helpful for students. That students or anyone with autism, there can be very high stress levels for them to learn to manage, and they are very big barriers for them that prevent them from moving forward and being able to manage a lot of those things in the workplace that we just take for granted and don't notice ourselves, and we don't have those sensitivities. So that's just a little contribution from me, and I'd like to thank you for this opportunity.